Welcome to another edition of Walton Entertainment. Today we'll have more news, information, and entertainment from your local hometown.
You can see there are quite a few people out here, even in the rain.
I don't know how anybody that loves America gonna get choked up on occasions like this. So we've come today to just give honor to him, and I just thank God today for our service members. You know, we were talking at the funeral home of the men and women that step up even today to keep this flag flying and to keep our freedom. And service members, we thank you. I asked Darlene what her favorite scripture was, and she told me this one. Jeremiah writing in Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." One translation says, to give you hope in the latter end. Let's pray. Father, in the exalted name of Jesus, come giving you praise today, God, for your loving hand that I know is upon this family today as they come to get closure. We thank you for men and women that have sacrificed their lives. And we just ask for your presence today. Just wrap your arms around this family and give them strength. Touch us all today as here, and let your name be glorified. And I thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. sacrifice Seaman Sucker class David William Duncan Jr., better known by the family as Junior. I'm sure they didn't call him Sucker class. But we not only come to honor him and to recognize his sacrifice alone, we come to recognize the sacrifice, grief, and the sorrow of his family, those that knew him. Family and all of us around would like to thank those who were instrumental in recovering and identifying the remains of this proud soldier. And I would like to say I thank God for the honor shown him and the respect. You know, everything has been handled to the toppest degree that you could think of. And thank all of you. Thank you today for all that have come, for the military, for the veterans, for the escort from the airport to the funeral home, the escort here. You do the family, the friends, and you do your nation proud. And we're proud of all of you. Matter of fact, I'm so proud of you, if you take me, I'd join. Well, I think at 80 years old, I'm a little bit over the hill. I'd like for a minute to remember Junior the best we can and to recognize him. He was the son of David Duncan Sr., Nellie Cornelia Duncan, brothers to his siblings, David Day, Fletcher, Clifford, Merle Phillips, all the nieces and nephews and friends. What did Junior sacrifice? You know, we don't know what his future held. I was laying in bed, as it happens to me when occasions like this, you lay down but your eyes don't want to cooperate, you know, and you get to thinking. And I was thinking this morning as I was laying there awake, and I was thinking, God, I wonder if he's in heaven today with his parents, because his mother and daddy were ministers of the gospel. Lord, is he there? Had there been that reunion there? You know, my mind, I don't know about your mind, but my mind begins to play on occasions like this. Well, what he didn't give up? Well, he gave up the fellowship and the love and the companionship of his family. He gave up the possibility of marriage, to have children and grandchildren, especially the last one, grandchildren. You know, Dr. David Dobson, child psychologist, he says they call them grand because they are grand. They God's reward that you didn't kill your own kids when they were growing up. He gave up the opportunity to mentor his siblings. He gave up the opportunity to achieve his fullest potential. One of the greatest, I think, is he gave up the opportunity and sacrifice for his country that we enjoy. You know, I'm so thankful for America. I'm so thankful for the men and women that served and have served. Remember that he served his country. Well, I don't know whether he was drafted or he joined, probably joined in that he was in the Navy. But he helps me to remember today that we have a great nation. And with all of its ills, it is still the greatest nation there is. And it's great for one reason. One is, I believe, we recognize God. But it's also for those that have served and have given their all. Today, men and women are still making the same sacrifice and the same decisions. And I'm thankful for it. Thanks to the sacrifice of Seaman Duncan, or Junior, reminds me of one scripture in the Bible. John 15:13 says, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. These are the words of Jesus himself. The greatest sacrifice that could ever be paid was paid by him and by his family. In the gospel, God's love letters to us. We're told that Jesus left heaven, came to the earth, knowing what was in store for him. He came to teach his disciples, through his word, teach us. He came to carry out God's plan. He came as a baby, grew up, lived a holy life. He came to pay the price for our forgiveness, for our sins. We know that the scriptures tell us that Jesus died to be our Savior. The way we can know him as our Savior is to recognize that he is the Son of God. That he died and he rose again and today sits at the right hand of the Father. To recognize that we've missed the mark, that we are sinners. But you know the word tells us that if we confess our sins, he's faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. You may think the day is not a day for this, but I think it's an ideal day for us to look at the gospel too. When we look at Junior and he gave all, we can look at an empty cross and an empty tomb and realize our Lord gave all. He died for us. I don't know about you, but I'm thankful for it. And as I look at the sacrifice that Junior made and the family made, I am so thankful today that we can come and we can celebrate. I was thinking Sunday as I was walking in the church doors at church, I was thinking about Junior and I said, you know, Lord, I can walk in these church doors without threat. I have the liberty to come and worship as I want to worship. And it didn't come cheap. Liberty is not cheap. This is what liberty is. Men and women that give themselves, and then those that fight, that make that sacrifice and fight. Freedom is not free. Jesus gave his life for us to free us from sin, to free us from bondage, so that we can have spiritual freedom, a full life in him. For he says in the scripture, he has come that we may have life and have it what? More abundantly. We can have a full life. So today we come to celebrate. Because I say celebrate, somehow people, we want to mourn, and there's a time for mourning, don't get me wrong. But there's a time to cry. But I think there's a time today to rejoice. Because men and women have given it all. And I know this is not your typical spot. I'd like today for all of us to give a round of applause to Junior, to those that gave it all, and to all of these men and women that serve, and the men and women that are in uniform today.
Are you in need of tractor work, bush hogging, grading, cleaning, sod installs, and drainage repair? Then you need Bold Springs Landscape Solutions. Bold Springs Landscape Solutions is a licensed, insured, and certified landscape solutions company. Their services include grading and drainage, bush hogging and clearing work, as well as fencing, landscape, and sod installation. Contact Bold Springs Landscape Solutions today.
I've seen quite a few cars are lined up here for the document destruction day and also for unloading tires and all. The Lindsay group is the one doing the document destruction. They, I'm shooting through my car so you can see, they get the things and they put them over there in a trash can and then they dump it. The thing is stuffed into a can and then it's rolled up by the truck. And then they pick up the can and dump it and then it's ready. Today's our annual document destruction day. It's been a success. We're thankful for everybody that came through and used the service. It is something we try to do twice a year, normally in June and sometimes in November.
So just keep an eye out for those events going forward. It's a good opportunity to get rid of any old sensitive documents you have that you don't feel like just recycling or throwing away. You can make sure that it's taken care of properly. With this truck, they even have a camera on there to where you can watch your documents being destroyed. So it really is a good way to get rid of those sensitive documents. Our citizens seem to love the event, and as long as they do, we're going to continue to do it for as long as we can. We're here from 9 to 11 today, so you probably won't see this until after the event's over. But it does give you a look at what goes on, and just know that in the future we do offer this service a couple of times a year, and it is a worthwhile event.
There definitely were a bunch of people here for Document Destruction Day, plus tires, plus bringing trash to recycling here at the Walton County Recycling Center.
Creative artists can offer you a wide range of video production. Call the experts and discuss your project today, whether it's your special event or your company. Creative Artist, 770-267-7368. Creative Artist produces this program you're watching. Call Creative Artist today, 770-267-7368. Creative Artist, they'll put you in the spotlight.
We're here on the Court Square, downtown Monroe.
And as you can see, quite a few people are gathering for the burial of this capsule.
Years from now, it will be brought up and people will see what it was like this present day 100 years from now.
But that would be awesome. I love it. Is this your daughter?
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. I'm Shane Short, Chair of the Bicentennial Committee, and this is the last event celebrating our 200th anniversary. And so we're very proud today to be here to bury this time capsule. And packed in the time capsule is a lot of historical stuff about Walton County. We've got some modern things like an iPhone and a charger to go with it. We also have some interviews of people that have lived in Walton County for a long time talking about their history, and it's in those DVDs are in there along with a DVD player and a cord to charge it. We also have some modern toys that are popular today that are in there, and a couple of surprises, I believe. At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Chairman Kevin Little to say just a few words.
Thank you, Shane. I do want to thank Shane and Dessa for being such a big part of the 2018 200th celebration and putting it together. That was a fun year, and it's exciting to think as we were putting all this together and just thinking, you know, you look back at 1918, where this country was, and you know where we are at 2018 and where we're going to be at 2118. It's just going to be amazing for the people that will open this and look back and see what we had here and see what was going on. So I do want to thank all the cities that participated in the 2018 event. It was a great time for Walton County, and it's a great time to be a Walton Countyan. We do have Commissioner Lee Bradford, Commissioner Timmy Shelnick, Commissioner Dr. Adams here. I don't think any other commissioners, but I do want to appreciate everybody that took part in this thing. This is a great celebration, and it's a great day for Walton County.
Absolutely. So after we take a couple of photos here and then get some photos around the dirt, we're going to move around to the back because we have a tree that we're planting as well, and we hope it'll last the next 100 years. and it's sponsored by Synovus, and I know Meredith Malcolm is here with us today to also be with us in that. So at this time, we're going to pose for just a couple of photos, and then we're going to move around the dirt, and we'll put our shovels in. So if you guys just kind of get up here.
Hey, I could have. I don't know. All the way up.
Right here at the dirt. Bring the shovel in. All right, everybody come on in. And take your shovel, just kind of push it in a little bit and look up.
Okay, look up.
I work with DOT, I know how to properly. I'd like to thank Synovus for sponsoring the tree planting here, and we hope it'll be here for the next 100 years. Okay. Thank you all very much.
I didn't know.
That's all right. Where's the drum?
Where did you look?
Yeah, we got it.
Are you in need of tractor work, bush hogging, grading, cleaning, sod installs, and drainage repair? Then you need Bold Springs Landscape Solutions. Bold Springs Landscape Solutions is a licensed, insured, and certified landscape solutions company. Their services include grading and drainage, bush hogging and clearing work, as well as fencing, landscape, and sod installation. Contact Bold Springs Landscape Solutions today. You're watching Walton Entertainment. As people, we're just curious about how things work. We want to get closer and more involved to see the inner workings. Welcome to A Look Inside. Join us as we take a closer look at people, places, and things, and what makes them work.
Well, the ambulances these days are mobile intensive care units. So we carry equipment that you would normally find in an emergency room, such as cardiac monitors, IV drugs, all the equipment to do invasive procedures to save lives, whatever aspect that may be. So what you hear here is a Life Pack. It's a Life Pack 15. It does all our shocks for patients who are in cardiac arrest. We have leads. We have pads to shock the victim in cardiac arrest. This is connected for blood pressure. So we have blood pressure. We have a saturation monitor that reads how much oxygen is attached to each red blood cell. And then we also have our leads here that are attached to the patient, so we can read heart rhythms. We can actually take 12 pictures of the heart, 6 horizontal and 6 vertical, to find out if they're actually having a heart attack or some sort of cardiac event. We're able to determine whether they're having an event or not. These are called intubation tools. And this is what we use to save somebody's life when they're not breathing. These are the laryngoscope, and these are blades. They simply connect in together. We put this into the patient's mouth, and we take an ET tube, an endotracheal tube, and pass it through the vocal cords into the lungs. We secure it, and we breathe for them. This is a very, very useful tool in saving lives in cardiac arrest or in respiratory arrest. One that we use very often, twice yesterday, in fact, with good results. So we go all the way from adult to child. What we have in here is our bag that carries even more equipment. This is called an Easy IO. It's an interosseous needle. And what we use this for is if we have a critical patient who's unconscious and unresponsive, doesn't matter if it's an adult or a child, this is a drill. And we actually take the drill, we put the needle on the end, and we drill it into the bone marrow. That way we can give fluid and IV medication straight into the bone marrow. We can take people's temperatures. We can take their blood sugar. We carry tourniquets and a full range of medication in here as well. Dextrose, glucagon for hypoglycemic patients, all kinds of cardiac medication here to save the cardiac arrest victim. All the drugs that paramedics carry these days. There are numerous pharmacological agents that we carry to help any victim in any situation. Alright, so that's what's inside a mobile intensive care ambulance. Paramedic and EMT are the people that make up this ambulance. The ambulance itself, without it being stocked, without all the equipment that you see here, is worth around $130,000. Once you stock the ambulance, you're probably looking at another $80,000 or more, depending on the equipment that you have in here. So it's a very expensive operation, but it's a very needy and a very wanted sort of operation. So the public don't usually see that, but when we go to houses, some of them are very surprised about the kind of equipment that we bring in and the things that we're able to do, because they never knew that they had that resource within the community.
As people, we're just curious about how things work. We want to get closer and more involved to see the inner workings. Welcome to A Look Inside. Join us as we take a closer look at people, places, and things, and what makes them work.
It's a Cirrus SR20, 200 horsepower. It's carbon fiber reinforced fiberglass. What we have here is a standard Cirrus flight deck. We have this is called the PFD, which is the primary flight display. It gives you all your information such as your attitude, your altitude, your airspeed. This is a MFD, a multifunction display. It gives you information on your engine parameters, moving map, GPS map, charts, any type of instrument charts, and some other data information. These are the analog in case you were to lose these two electronic displays. These are two Garmin 430 GPSs. They're separate, so if one goes out, you still have the other one. This is a comm panel. These are your primary instruments. Also, in case of your PFD goes out, you still have your airspeed, your attitude, and your altitude. And this is your power. And this is your flap actuator. And this here is your transponder, so you're visible to air traffic control. In case of an emergency, you have the ability to reach up under that piece of plastic here, and there's a handle. When you deploy that handle, it'll deploy a parachute and lands the airframe or the aircraft safely to the ground.
How soft is that landing?
I've heard that it's approximately falling from 10 feet. you look over to your right, you'll see Stone Mountain. We're about 1,500 feet above it. To me, flying is freedom. It gives me the ability as a pilot to fly places which would normally take about 3 times as long. For example, my wife and I like to go to Cedar Key, which is about a 7 to 8 hour drive if you include all the stops. And flying in an aircraft like this, you get there in an hour and a half, 2 hours tops.
This airport is located very strategically, approximately 32 miles from east of Atlanta, and excellent access to I-20, which is a major road into Atlanta. The runway is long enough to accommodate any size corporate aircraft, which that translates that our airport is accessible to anyone from anywhere in the whole United States, and some aircraft from foreign countries.
Today I take a travel down Highway 11 right through downtown Monroe. It's an ordinary day, rainy. It's been rainy here last few days. But I take a travel down through town, and it may seem like, wow, why do this? One of the important things to me, and hello, I'm Darrell Everidge, your photographer. One of the important things to me, and not just as a photographer, but as just someone who enjoys looking back on history. Years from now, this video, we can see the progress that downtown Monroe has made, whether it be the new sidewalks they're putting in, or maybe a new construction of a business, or just the changing of the cars, the year models. So I encourage you to get out wherever you live, whatever city, make a video, take pictures of stuff that seems like, this is kind of ordinary. Of course it is, but years from now, it's going to be a treasured photograph or a video. So I encourage you to snap those pictures and make those videos of history, because years down the road, you're going to treasure that time you took to make those photographs and videos. So that's what we're doing today. Take a look at our little stroll through downtown Monroe.
peach stake wood turners, and we've been in existence about 12, 14 years.
Well, this is a Beads of Courage box, and it's a segmented piece with different kinds of wood that's been glued up, and now we're truing it up so that we can make a smooth surface on it, and then we'll be making a lid to go on top of it.
The bows are being made for a group called Beads of Courage. It is for catastrophic patients at hospitals that are dealing with cancer or blood disorders or whatever. And for each treatment they go through, they collect a little bead from the hospital. Well, they found out they needed a place for these kids to collect these beads. Therefore, the idea of the bows. Some of them get as many as 500, 600, 700 of these different beads for different things that they've gone through. And all these bows are made by volunteers nationwide, all over the country. People are making these bows that are donated to this organization to be given to the kids at the hospital. Our goal is to make 30, 35, somewhere in that neighborhood of these bows to be donated this year to that organization to be given out to the kids. Our club is just a loose fit organization of wood turners. We do this, some of us do it as a hobby, some of us do it and make a little extra money here and there, but we're all just a group of guys that learn from each other different techniques of doing wood turning. We make everything from fountain pens, ballpoint pens, to bowls, urns, tabletops, anything that can be turned on a lathe.
Welcome to another edition of Through the Camera. This week it's special. We're going to the Okefenokee Swamp. So grab your family, grab a camera, and let's go grab some memories. Okay, so the night's over. We've left the luxurious Super 8 motel accommodations, and we're out here at the Okefenokee, checking into the cabin. It's going to be a week-long fun tour of what we can find out in this natural forest. Amazing stuff, we hope. Just watch and see what we can come across here at the Okefenokee. Out on the Wilderness Trail right now at the Okefenokee, as we walk, we can all see that this is where people come out to look at wild nature. Nature is wild, and that's what we're amongst today. Hopefully we can find something out of the ordinary.
middle of the Okefenokee, and I have us parked on a peat battery. And do you guys know what Okefenokee means? Okay.
I've been wondering that.
Alright, so the bottom of the swamp floor is covered with what we call peat. And it's just a collection of decaying vegetation that settles down to the bottom. It's being broken down by microbes and bacteria, and methane gas is released in the process. So over time you get enough pressure from all that methane that it forces the peat to break loose from the bottom, and it forces it to pop up to the surface. So that's what happened over here. And it's created a platform for grasses and other vegetation to colonize on it and take root. Once it's completely covered with grasses like this one is, we call it a peat battery, because in the Civil War, soldiers could hydrate their ammunition deep down in that tall grass. They could float the whole thing downriver and move it from location to location. And when the Indians were here, they figured out they could walk across these thick floating mats of peat. And when they did that, it would move underneath their feet. They called it Okefenokee, or Land of the Trembling Earth. So y'all see it moving?
It looks pretty strong though.
Uh-huh. So yeah, you can walk across that. Asked a friend in school what she wanted to be, and she said park ranger. I kind of went like, ooh, really? Why? I wanted to be a vet growing up, and I took freshman chemistry in college and realized no vet school was ever going to admit me into their program. So I looked at the list of majors Georgia had to offer, and all the way at the bottom down there next to women's studies was wildlife. That's what I want to study. That's what I want to do.
Wow, it's been a fantastic day today. Let's take a look back through the photo album. Thanks for coming along this week as we visited the Okefenokee Swamp. Special thanks to the Georgia Department of Natural Resources for all their help in making this segment this week. Thanks, guys. I'm reminding you as your photographer, Darrell Everidge, this week, grab the family, grab a camera, and go out there and grab some memories.
road again. Our first stop is New Bern, Georgia, the Johnston Dairy Farm, where we meet up with Russell and Carrie. They show us all about homemade cheese.
We've always milked cows here, well, since 1977. My father started in '56, and then he built the dairy barn over there in '77. And I bought him out in '92, and we always shipped milk, you know, the traditional way. We'd send it out on the bulk truck to Publix or Mayfield or whoever. So now we're making little small batches of artisan cheeses, mozzarella, burrata, scamorza. We make bocconcini, but it's kind of labor intensive, so we try not to make too much of it. Well, these are most of our milk herd. We milk 78 Holstein Jersey crossbreeds. We have a few Holsteins and a few pure Jerseys, but most of them are crossbreeds. We raise them all here on the farm. They're grass-fed and pastured, obviously. And we have to have the cows for the milk to make the cheese out of. We bring them up twice a day and milk them. Right now we're averaging about 55 pounds of milk per cow per day, which I think if you do the math is around 8.5 gallons. And I'd say about 10 to 20% of that milk, 10 to 15% of that milk goes to making cheese. The rest is shipped out on the bulk truck and either goes to the Publix plant or the Mayfield plant or the Kroger plant, just depending on what day of week it is.
Oh, that was some great cheese. Check them out, johnstonfamilyfarm.com. Excellent stuff. Our next stop, Anna Ruby Falls. But on our way, we had to stop just for a moment in Cleveland and visit Babyland, home of the Cabbage Patch Kids. Wow, just wow. So we're back on the road and we're headed to Anna Ruby Falls going through Helen, and I see this big truck of inner tubes and I'm thinking, what? Inner tubing? A river? So we have to stop and check it out.
I'm gonna raise a fuss, I'm gonna raise a holler about a working all summer just to try to earn a dollar. Every time I call my baby, try to get a date, my boss says,
no die, son, you gotta work late.
sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do, but there ain't no cure for the summertime blues.
Only wish I had time this weekend to get on one of those inner tubes and go down that lazy river. But hey, we're back on the road, Anna Ruby Falls. That's our next stop.
About Anna Ruby Falls. It is part of the Chattahoochee National Forest. It comprises of 1,600 acres inside the forest. We're located north of Helen. North of us is Tray Mountain. Tray Mountain is one of the larger mountains in Georgia, and that is where the water comes from that makes up Anna Ruby Falls. Anna Ruby Falls is very unique as far as waterfalls go, in that there are two separate creeks
that come down off of the mountain side by side. One is Curtis Creek, the other is York Creek. They both make up Anaruby Falls. Anaruby Falls is named after Anna Ruby Nichols Payne, a young lady whose father, Captain John Nichols, moved to this area from Milledgeville shortly after the Civil War. Out riding one day, the story goes, on horseback around 1870 or so, with his daughter Anna Ruby on her horse. He discovered the falls, and due to its beauty and the beauty of his daughter, he named the falls for her.
Wow, it's been a fantastic day today. Let's take a look back through the photo album.
Wow, thanks guys for joining me for another edition of Through the Camera. Sure glad you went along with us today as we visit people, places, and things. Join us next time. Till then, this weekend, next weekend, any weekend, go out there and have some fun. Grab the family, grab a camera, and go grab some memories.